Now, IDF spokesperson Avikai Adre has put out a video of IDF attacks on nuclear facilities in Isfahan region, specifically targeting the site's uranium enrichment and production infrastructure. Now, according to IDF spokesperson, Israeli warplanes destroyed a uranium metal production building and reached uranium conversion infrastructure, laboratories, and additional facilities critical to Iran's nuclear program. The attack aimed to disrupt Iran's nuclear weapons development capabilities, with the IDF emphasizing the facility's role in reprocessing enriched uranium. This operation is part of Israel's efforts to neutralize the Iranian nuclear threat. This is a statement from the IDF spokesperson, which shows a video of IDF attacks on nuclear facilities in Isfahan region, specifically targeting the site's uranium or the sites of uranium enrichment and production infrastructure. Now, the IDF spokesperson says that Israeli warplanes destroyed a uranium metal production building and reached uranium conversion infrastructure, laboratories, and additional facilities critical to Iran's nuclear program. The attack aimed to disrupt Iran's nuclear weapons development capabilities, with the IDF emphasizing the facility's role in reprocessing enriched uranium. Now, this operation is part of Israel's efforts to neutralize the Iranian nuclear threat. Netanyahu has already spoken to US President Donald Trump after Israel struck Iran's military leadership and nuclear facilities. Tehran retaliated. Now, this is what Netanyahu says. He called on Iranians to unite against what he described as an evil and oppressive regime, telling them Israel is engaged in one of the greatest military operations in history. Let's talk to Mr. Adrien Calamel. But before we go to Mr. Calamel, we have another breaking news coming in from Israel. And the IDF says an additional barrage of missiles was launched towards the state of Israel. It has urged its citizens to continue following the instructions of the Home Front Command and official updates to ensure their safety amid the ongoing missile attacks. The IDF says Israeli area defense is currently identifying and intercepting launches. Our state media says Iran has launched fresh wave of attacks on Israel. Once again, Israel and Iran are completely on alert. Both states are completely on alert at this time. The IDF says an additional barrage of missiles was launched towards the state of Israel. It put out a statement on X. It has urged its citizens to continue following the instructions of the Home Front Command and official updates to ensure their safety amid the ongoing missile attacks. IDF says Israeli area defense is currently identifying and intercepting launches. State media says Iran has launched fresh wave of attacks on Israel. Let's talk to Mr. Adrien Calamel. He is a fellow at the Arabian Peninsula Institute and the author of forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Mr. Calamel, good to see you, and thank you very much for joining us at this hour. Let's try and decode what the Prime Minister of Israel is trying to say, because he is urging Iranians to unite. He also goes on to say that the regime in Iran is evil and oppressive. He's telling them Israel is engaged in one of the greatest military operations in history. What do you make of his statement?
Well, thank you for having me, Eric. It's good to see you again. I think his statements are accurate. If you look at this regime, just at their history, I'll just look at the last 5 years. This last year, they executed more people than they have the past 5 years. And this has been going on since 2017. You've really seen it ratchet up. They've just brutalized their own population. And I have seen video coming out of Iran where there are people dancing in the streets actually celebrating. The video is leaked out. Much of it you cannot get because there are blackouts. But this was, there's net outages. It was a complete blackout. So I believe Netanyahu is correct that, and I think the Iranian people, from my own communications with people inside and outside, view this as kind of, this is the beginning of something that could topple this regime that's kept them in kind of chains for the last 46 years.
Mr. Calamel, why did this not happen earlier? Because we've seen there's some sort of negotiations between America and Iran, and America insists that these negotiations will continue. In fact, they say that their teams will meet in Oman on Sunday. But why did this not happen earlier when it comes to Israel, unleashing missiles towards Iran?
Another great question, Eric, and I do believe that, excuse me, I do believe that Israel had probably wanted to do this a little bit earlier. Everything was set in place. The things were really moving in their direction, and that's when we saw the brakes kind of put on it, and we're going through this 2-week or 2-month, 60-day negotiation process. That I'm skeptical about any type of meeting in Muscat and what happens with that. So the reason why it actually happened now, and they couldn't wait any longer, is because the reports that are coming out from the IAEA and other people that study non-proliferation have said that it is very clear that they're racing towards a bomb and the militarization of their highly enriched uranium. So there was the urgency there. They were up against the clock here. It was up against Khamenei's clock. So probably the conversation was made Netanyahu to Trump. Trump said, "Oh, give me a couple of months to try and work this out." I'm trying to balance a couple of other things that are going on in the world, such as Ukraine, and let's see where this goes. But I think at the end of the day, Trump was always going to revert back to his 2018, 2020 maximum pressure campaign against the regime.
Mr. Calamel, Israeli Prime Minister says that this will be an ongoing affair, but to what end? That's my question. To what end is Israel willing to go? And to what end does this retaliation willing to go between Iran and Israel, in your own view?
In my view, Israel will go until the sites that have the ability to both enrich and reprocess are eliminated, that they can no longer be used, then they cannot be brought back online. That's the end. They've also diminished them to a certain level of their command and control. If you look at General Salami, the head of the IRGC. Now, as far as the Iranian response, the regime's response, we have to remember they have a finite toolbox that they can work with here. They don't have a conventional army. What you're seeing right now is what you're going to get if they decide to continue to play in this sandbox. They could always say, all right, we're going to stop, or else the regime is going to fall, and then pivot away and look to the unconventional attacks, such as hitting embassies in other continents, etc.
Mr. Adrien Calamel, stay with me, because this is an ongoing coverage on WION World is One, and this is the latest we are getting in our newsroom at this hour, that Israeli interceptions of Iranian missiles is continuing at this moment. The interceptions were seen in the sky as the Israeli military said another attack was taking place. Air raid sirens sounded in Tel Aviv following the identification of missiles from Iran towards Israel, and that's according to Israel's defense forces. This is the latest visuals and events we are receiving from Israel, and the state television in Israel has indicated that Iran has launched a fresh wave of attacks on Israel. The interceptions were seen in the sky as the Israeli military said another attack was taking place. Air raid sirens sounded in Tel Aviv following the identification of missiles from Iran towards Israel. Now, sirens continue to wail in Tel Aviv as Iron Dome intercepts Iranian missiles. This is an ongoing retaliation between Iran and Israel, and this is the latest. We are getting in our newsroom at this hour, and Israel has intercepted the missiles being deployed from Iran, and the IDF has already put out a statement saying that the interceptions were seen in the sky as the Israeli military said another attack was taking place. Air raid sirens sounded in Tel Aviv following the identification of missiles from Iran towards Israel. Mr. Adrien Calamel is still with me. Mr. Adrien, this looks like a provocation from Israel, but let's put that aside. The targeting of nuclear facilities in Iran, what impact will that have?
The impact is it's going to weaken the regime just because they've put so much stock in. Ali Khamenei sees it as a source of pride of not just him, but his regime, which is, as I said previously, has oppressed the people for 46 years now. As far as nuclear contamination, any type of radioactive spillover, there's two sites that they need to stay away from, and they're not hitting those. They're hitting the enrichment sites and where they're reprocessing. And we also have to remember that a lot of these sites are deep below the surface, unlike what we had seen in Iraq with the nuclear reactor there, or Chernobyl, or something of that nature. So that's the goal is obviously to spare as many lives, Iranian lives, as possible, because Israel really is on the side of the Iranians. If you see, if you know the Iranian people, especially in the diaspora, they see, and inside they see the Israeli state as an ally, and somebody that can help push over this house of cards. So this is. It was always going to come down to this. It was always going to come down to some type of kinetic action. Was my belief is that Trump tried to provide an off-ramp. Khamenei didn't want it. He insisted that they're going to enrich and reprocess. If they did that and they said that they didn't want to produce a nuclear weapon, they would be the first country in the world that reprocesses and enriches, but does not produce a nuclear weapon. So that's why decisive action was made, and they can not allow this ever to happen. And
Mr.
that's being done right now.
Mr. Calamel, let's talk about the countries which are involved in this sort of war between Iran and Israel. And Iran is actually warning those countries that support Israel that they will be met with the same force as Israel is being met with right now. And we have the latest now. There's a statement from a U.S. official who says that the U.S. did not provide any military assistance or have any involvement in the Israeli strike. But how much do you think America is involved in this sort of conflict?
Oh, Eric, I would have to say that we are involved. If Israel's going to take out this type of action, it's not going to be without a wink and a nod from the United States, and saying also that we will give you our full backing to finish the job. So I think we would be rather naive to say that there isn't U.S. support. So that puts troops that we have stationed in Iraq in jeopardy, and that's also one of the concerns of Israel, is that they can hit from other directions. They can launch from Iraq, they can launch from Yemen. But as far as the other countries that are not aligned with the Islamic Republic, Saudi Arabia, UAE, you go around Jordan, you go around the Gulf, it's pretty much mum. Nobody's saying a word. It's just it's a wink, wink.
Mr. Calamel, there are certain critics who say that once a war begins, it's very hard to control it or to end it. But how long do you think this war will persist between Iran and Israel? And who, if at all, any country or any person, who can pacify the situation at this moment?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Who can pacify the situation? I don't know if anybody can step this down. I think that Khamenei can say, he can obviously say, okay, no more, I give up. You come in, you dismantle everything, and we're going to play by your rules, and that's it. That's one way to step this down. And that's the only way I see this being resolved. As far as length and duration of this, we're into the first day of this, of the Israeli strikes, and they took out some critical leaders, some high-value targets. They also took out, multiple sites, and they continue to hit sites, and they've run so many sorties that we really don't know the damage assessment yet. But I would expect this to last over several days and maybe into a week or two.
All right. Mr. Adrien Calamel, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
Always a pleasure, Eric. Thank you.